Hi friends, myself Dr. V.C. Suramurthy. I am going to talk about closure operations for the subject automata theory and formal languages. So in this video covers the following: closure under union, closure under product or concatenation or catenation, closure under star, closure under reversal or reflection, finally closure under intersection. So before going to see these operations, we learn about regular set. So, regular set is generated by a grammar G equal to NTPS, in which every rule is of the form A tends to X or A tends to XB or S tends to epsilon. That means left hand side is non-terminal and right hand side is single terminal or single terminal followed by non-terminal, sometimes epsilon. Okay. In other words, if a regular set L does not contain epsilon, if there is no rule of the form, starting symbol tends to epsilon. That means S tends to epsilon. But L contains epsilon, then the grammar can be found such only rule containing of the form epsilon. That is, starting symbol tends to epsilon. So based on epsilon, so the grammar is epsilon free or epsilon grammar. Okay. So we see the following operations. So first one is union. So let if L1 and L2 be two languages, the union of L1 and L2 is denoted by L1 union L2, which is equal to W, such that W is in L1 or L2. That means the word is either belongs to first language or in second language. For example, L1 equal to AB, comma CD, and the second language L2 equal to BA, comma DC. So then L1 union L2, which is equal to AB, comma CD, comma BA, comma DC. So every element in L1 and L2 belongs to either L1 or L2. So next one is product. The product of L1 and L2 is denoted by L1 dot L2, which is equal to W, such that W, the word is of the form multiple of two strings X, Y. So the first string X belongs to L, first element, first language L1, and Y belongs to the second language L2. Suppose we can multiple L2 and followed by L1. So it is denoted by, that means the product of L2 and L1 is denoted by L2 dot L1, which is same for W, W equal to XY, such that here X belongs to L2. That means first language is L2 multiplied by L1. So X belongs to L2 and Y belongs to L1. For example, same we can use L1 and L2. So the L1 dot L2, which is equal to AB BA, BA DC, CD BA, C DD C. So similarly for L2 dot L1 equal to BA AB, BA CD, DC AB, DC CD. So next one is intersection. The intersection of two languages L1 and L2 is denoted by L1 intersection L2, so which is equal to the word W, such that W is in L1 and L2. That means the word belongs to both L1 and L2. So we can only consider the word that belongs to both L1 and L2. So here we can define L1 equal to ABCD and L2 equal to BA, DC. So the intersection of L1 and intersection is only empty set. That means there is no common word that belongs to both L1 and L2. So next one is reversal. So the reversal of L1 is denoted by L to the power R, which is equal to W power R, word reverse word. So which is such that W is in L1. For example, L1 equal to A comma B, L1 equal to A comma B. So then L1 power R equal to W power R. That means AB whole to the power R, which is equal to BA. So this is the reversal. Next one is star. So let L be a language and L to the power 0 equal to epsilon. That means empty word. So L to the power 1, which is equal to L, and L squared equal to L into L. Similarly for L to the power n equal to L to the power n minus 1 into L to the power 1 for n greater than or equal to 1. So here next we are going to say about star or clean closure or catenation closure. The star of L or clean closure of L or catenation closure of L is written as L star. So which is defined by L star equal to union L equal to 0 to infinity L to the power n. So which is equal to L to the power 0 union L to the power 1 union L to the power n, etc. union L to the power n, etc. So next one is clean plus. So the clean plus or epsilon free catenation closure of L is denoted by L plus, and is defined as L plus equal to union L equal to 1 to infinity L to the power n. So here the language start with the power index is 1. So in L star we can start with L to the power 0. L plus is start with the power 1. So there is only difference between L star and L plus. So this can be noted in the following slide. So net L star equal to L plus union epsilon. So that means adding epsilon in L plus we get L star. So suppose if epsilon is already there in the language, so then L star and L plus are same. If L plus equal to L star minus epsilon, if epsilon does not belongs to that language L. Next we are going to see about the theorem based on the above operators. So first theorem, the class of CFL, that means context free language is closed under union. That means we can define two context language L1 and L2. Their union, that is L1 and L2, is also again a context free grammar. That is our theorem statement. So we can consider L1 and L2 to be two languages generated by context free grammar. That means L1 and L2 be two context free languages. So the corresponding grammar is always context free grammar. So the corresponding grammar of L1 is denoted as G1. So G1, which is equal to B1 T1 P1 S1, and another grammar G2 is denoted by B2 T2 P2 S2. So here B1 is the non-terminal symbol of G1 grammar, T1 is the terminal symbol of G1 grammar, P1 is the production rule of G1 grammar, S1 is the starting symbol of the G1 grammar. So similarly for V2 is the set of non-terminal symbol for G2 grammar, T2 is the set of terminal symbol for G2 grammar, P2 is the production rule of G2 grammar, and S2 is the starting symbol of G2 grammar. So without loss of generality, subscription G1 is denoted the first grammar and G2 is denoted the second grammar. So and next we noted this some important concept. So the set of non-terminals in first grammar intersection followed by second grammar, there is no relationship. That means B1 intersection B2 is always empty set. So next we can define a context free grammar in terms of the above defined context free language. That means L1 L2. So we can define a context free language L1 in terms of L1 union L2. So that grammar is denoted as G. So G equal to B1 union B2 union starting symbol. So we noted that so S is the starting symbol of L1 G grammar. That means L1 language. So it is always does not belongs to either B1 or B2. So the T is denoted as T1 union T2, and the production rule P equal to P1 union P2 union. We can add these two production rules, S tends to S1 and S tends to S2. So here S is the starting symbol of the corresponding grammar G of the language L. So any derivation, so in this production rule contains any derivation is of the form followed by S is followed by, that means S is derived by either S1 or S2. So suppose we need L1 word, so we can use the production rule. First one S tends to S1. Suppose we need L2 word, so we can use the second production rule S tends to S2. So using this production rule, we get a language L. So that language is always satisfying the property L1 and L2. So each word is generated by either a word in L1 or L2. So it is always L equal to L1 union L2. So the closure of that means the context free grammar, that is our statement. L1 and L2 is also a context grammar. For example, let P1 is defined by the production rule A tends to this one, and P2 is denoted as S2 tends to this production rule. So then the S union, that means P1 union P2 means we can add these two production rules, S tends to S1, S tends to S1 and S tends to S2. That means you need L1 word, we can use the production rule S followed by S1. You need L2 word, we can use the production rule S tends to S2. So we can add it. So using this production rule, we can define it. So the L equal to L1 union L2. So next one is, so if L1 and L2 be two context free languages, that their product, that means L1 dot L2 is also context free grammar. So we can define. So similarly, L1 and L2 be a context free grammar. Corresponding grammar is G1 and G2. So we can satisfy the above properties. So V1 intersection V2 is equal to pi. That means there is no relationship between V1 and V2. So additionally, we note that the starting symbol of our defined defined grammar S does not belongs to N1, B1 or union B2 or union T1 or T2. So this S is only defined only in the grammar L, not is predefined in previous language L1 or L2. So here the production rule is of the form S tends to S1 dot S2. So this is the production rule for the product L1 dot L2. Suppose we need L2 dot L1, we can change the only production rule this steps only. So S tends to S2 dot S1 is an example for the product L2 and L1. That means L2 dot L1. So using this follow procedure, we get L equal to L1 dot L2. So each word is generated by the product of L1 and L2. So next one is under star. So if L1 is a context free grammar, so then the star, that means L1 star is a context free grammar. So we can define that L1 be a generated by a context free grammar, corresponding grammar G1 equal to V1, T1, P1, S1 without loss of generality. Each non-terminal G1 is the first one. So define a context free grammar that generates L1 star. So we can define the corresponding grammar G equal to V1. So that is set of non-terminals in the grammar G1 union the starting symbol of the corresponding grammar G. So T1 is same as T. So production rule P1 union S tends to S1 S. So we can add only this term for the under star. S tends to S1 S. So this S is followed by, that means S derives S1. So here S is the starting symbol. So using this production rule, so we can easily derive S L1 star. So each word is generated either in some sequence of words in L1. So L1 star is also a context free grammar. So next one is their intersection. So in the previous theorems always proved, that means closed under union, closed under product, closed under star. So in this theorem only fails for product, that fails for only intersection. That means L1 and L2 be two context free languages, then their intersection L1 intersection may not be a context free grammar. So using proof of this, we can use this example. So here L1 equal to A power n, B power n, A power n comma m greater than or equal to 0. So corresponding the production rule. So then L2 is the another language A power n, B power m, A power n. So we can prove that this L1 intersection L2 may not be a context free grammar. We can take in the intersection A. So first part is A. So both of them is same. So their intersection is always A power n. Suppose we can using the B term. So B power n and B power n. So which one is the smaller? So n is smaller. So we get B intersection of the second part is only we get B power n. So both of them are same. We can either you can use n or m. So we get the language L1 intersection L2 equal to A to the power m, B to the power n, A to the power m. So we get the languages. So this is not a context free language. So this is the context sensitive type language. So the intersection is not be a context free grammar. So that means intersection of two context free grammar is not a context free grammar. So in this video lecture, we learned about the definition and the theorems for the following properties: closed under union, closed under product or catenation or concatenation, closed under star, closed under reversal or reflection, closed under intersection. So thank you.